All right. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about, I guess, common hacker tactics and scam tactics and how you can spot these things online. So we're going to be going it through at the lens of like who are the kind of nefarious characters online that we might encounter, so that we can better understand how to spot them, and how to watch out for red flags and stay safe against them. So what we're going to be talking about, we're going to start talking about what is a hacker, what are the different types, these are also scammers, what are the goals of these individuals or groups, how hackers achieve their goals, and how you can protect yourself from malicious attacks. So what is a hacker? Simply put, a hacker is a person who breaks into computer systems, right? So there are different types of hackers, and not all hackers are actually bad. So we do actually have ethical hackers, people who do it to contribute to a safer internet. But hackers fall into a few different categories. We have like black hat hackers that are criminal hackers. We have white hat hackers that are authorized hackers. Gray hat hackers, those are people who are in that kind of gray zone. Maybe they just do it for fun. They may not have malintentions. They're just, having fun online, hacking into systems. We have green hat hackers. Those are hackers in training. Blue hat hackers, these are authorized software hackers. Sometimes companies, whatever, will use them to test their systems. And we have red hat hackers that are government hired hackers. So what are hackers looking for? We're talking about the bad ones. Hackers generally want to steal personal information, like your social security number or account login info, so they can profit from it, so they can commit identity fraud, open up credit cards in your name, that kind of thing. So they're looking to hack you to find information on you. This is the same when we talk about like online scams and like phishing scams. All of this is with the intention of stealing information from you, information that can be used to get money out of you or others. So what is their goal with getting this information or hacking you? Oftentimes it's to buy or sell this information on the dark web. So a hacker or a scammer might get information out of you, like your social security number, information about your address and stuff like that. And they may use it for themselves in order to commit further crimes like identity fraud. But sometimes they just sell it to other people who are going to use it to do those same things. There is a bit of an industry out there for selling this information on the dark web, which is sort of this hidden part of the internet that we don't really see on like our regular internet browsers. But it's kind of like you might have heard of it. It's kind of like a banned part of the internet that you have to like take a bunch of steps to get into, and use special programming to get into. But they can also hold your data for ransom, your information for ransom, and force you to pay them to give it back. They can also use this information potentially to access your financial accounts, to transfer themselves money, to commit identity theft, or to use your account to carry out more scams on your friends and family. So you have to think about cybersecurity and staying safe from scammers and hackers online in a number of ways. Not only does the understanding this stuff protect you, it protects people in your network, because you may just be the first person in a chain of people that they are trying to get access to, right? If they can find out information about you, maybe they can pose as you and get information from your friends or family about them, right? So it becomes a much bigger thing than one person alone. And cybercrime is on the rise, unfortunately. Americans are losing a lot of money due to internet crime, financial losses suffered by victims of internet crimes. You can see them here. This just goes up to 2020, which is when they did their last major report. But you can see that it's been growing steadily, especially as more people are online. There's just more people to try to rip off. So it's going up. It's actually greater now than the rate of home burglary. And in last year, Americans lost $10.3 billion due to cybercrime. So it is a huge industry. It affects everyone. Everyone needs to be educated on it. And everyone is at risk, unfortunately, but there are things that we can definitely do to protect ourselves. So what puts you at risk when you're online of getting scammed or hacked? or anything else. So if we do more now online, so hackers take advantage of that, as I said. But if you're 60, it's not a matter of if a hacker will attack you, it's when. Unfortunately, by the virtue of being an older adult, you're just attacked more frequently. That's the reality of the situation. Hackers might assume that you are less knowledgeable about the internet, less knowledgeable about their tactics, and they will try to use that against you. But you will not be that case. You will be the exception because you're figuring out this stuff now and educating yourself, which is a really major step in doing this. I will say, though, the second most common attacked group, and honestly, the group that's actually more likely to fall for these scams are like Gen Z, is young people. So it happens to everyone, and everyone gets affected by it. So how do these hackers, scammers, how do they get into your computer? What are they doing? What are their access points? What are the things we're looking out for? So the first main way they get into your computer is through viruses. You may have heard of this: viruses, malware, right? These terms have been around forever. So basically, what this means is, oh my God. Sorry, my screen got messed up there. So there's a few ways they get in to do this. They may send you, say, fake text messages or emails that contain malware. These are often known as phishing scams. So they send you something to lure you in. So maybe they send you an email posing as a cybersecurity firm, saying, you need this software, you need to update this software. Click on this link to update your security software, and you click on it, and in reality, it's actually a link to download their malware or download that virus that they've sent you. You may also accidentally download something like malware or a virus when you're downloading other things off the internet, unsafe things. So if you're visiting a site and maybe you're trying to get access to a movie for free, and you don't go to a very safe website, you can get it that way, right? You go to an unsafe website and click on a link, and it just automatically downloads onto your computer. Now, this is less likely because when we use the devices we use today, they're set up on like really modern web browsers, right? If you're using like an iPad or something, you have Safari, and that has built-in security features. I don't know if you've ever seen this. You go to a website and it turns you back saying this is not safe. So oftentimes those practices are in place. So really the big way is to do that phishing thing. You get a text, you get an email, there's a link, there's an attachment, you click on it and you download it. So often it's kind of self-inflicted. We actually, without knowing it, download the thing ourselves because we're told to click on a link.
Oh, Miss Macaulee, did you mean to start your video or stop sharing?
Yes. I was just gonna transition into doing this way.
Okay, awesome. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So another way hackers can get into your computer, and kind of I mentioned this, a big thing, and especially targeting older adults, is through something called tech support scams that give you control of your device. Obviously, preying on things that are already in place, using issues that already exist, right? Again, assuming that maybe you are less educated about your computer, and using that to get in. So the hackers will contact you again via email or maybe a pop-up claiming that your computer has been compromised or it has a virus. And then these messages, they appear to be sent by like a reputable source. Maybe it looks like it's coming from the Geek Squad at Best Buy, and they convince you to call a tech support number in the message. You call them, and then they get you to download some sort of software that allows them to access your computer so that they can help you fix this problem. In reality, you've just given them access to all the data and information on your computer. So this is something that happens a lot, right? We always say when it comes to communications online and watching out for these hackers and scammers, if you did not initiate the conversation, you should feel that's a red flag and you should watch out for that. So if it's an unsolicited, hey, there's something wrong, you need my help, that is a red flag right out of the gate. You should be able to call, look up, another number on your like cybersecurity that you have on your device, or go into, an Apple store if you have an iPad again and talk to them. Don't talk to people who are reaching out to you. You want to be the first point of contact to ensure that you're talking to the right people. Another thing that happens a lot of the time is hackers can take advantage of outdated software. Again, if you're using a newer device, often you're in okay shape. As I said, a lot of modern web browsers like Safari, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge have a lot of security protocols put in place. But if your software is out of date, if it's an older software, it has more vulnerabilities to security threats, that can put you at risk. Or if your operating system is also out of date, that can increase your risk. So with this, it's really important to know that like anytime your device needs to be updated, if you don't have automatic updates on, that you should update it. So if you get that notification, hey, it's time for an update, try not to put it off for too long. They'll keep bothering you about it anyway, because oftentimes these updates have really nothing to do with like changing how you use the tablet or your computer. It's more so to do with the security protocols that they have in place. This is a really fast changing landscape. New viruses are created every single day. New tactics for trying to hack and scam are created every day. And so oftentimes those updates are just the system trying to catch up with those known threats. So updating your software, updating your apps and your programs on your device as well, to make sure you're getting the full security benefits that the company that made those apps, that makes your device, puts in place. Another way that you get put at risk is through your Wi-Fi network. So if you're using an unsecure Wi-Fi network, this is a great way for hackers and scammers to get access to your information, get access to you. So say you're using a public Wi-Fi network, those often aren't very safe or protected. So you have to take extra precautions when using them. Now, if you're using a home Wi-Fi or you're using a cellular data plan that's built into your device already, you're pretty safe with those connections. You have a direct link. However, public Wi-Fi networks like at libraries, maybe in public transit, although they're great and they offer us a great amount of connectivity, we do just have to be aware not to be doing sensitive things while we're using those networks, because they're just more vulnerable to attack based on just the fact that they're public, right? Anyone can use them, meaning kind of anyone can kind of get access to that network and connected devices to that network more easily than a home network or cellular data plan. So they are vulnerable. So when we're using those networks, just making sure that we're not doing online banking, we're keeping ourselves safe by not putting too much information out on those types of networks. And then, as I said, this kind of goes across the board and is used a lot. It's used apart from and also within a lot of the previous tactics I talked about is phishing attacks. So phishing attacks are truly the main way that we see any sort of online scam, attack, or anything happen. They are an email, they're a text, they can be a message on social media. I get them all the time, so I'm certain that you get them all the time as well. It is, and hopefully they're going to spam, but it is the text message from the US Postal Service claiming that you have a package that they couldn't deliver and you have to pay a fee, or you have to contact them and give them the proper information to redeliver your package. You didn't order anything though. It's the email from Amazon.com asking you to reset your password on your account. It's the email from Facebook saying, oh, there's been recent activity, click here to check what the recent activity has been, right? It's these emails that pose as reputable sources, trying to get you to click and give information on there. So those are those scams, and they're really common. Again, they can do this to just collect information directly from you, to download a virus or malware on your computer if you click the link. So this is the main way they do it. And it's really a personal vulnerability, right? Like we give them the thing that they need when we're not being cautious and careful on there. And to go back, because someone brought this up when I talked about using public Wi-Fi networks, there is a great way that when you're using public Wi-Fi networks, you can protect yourself. This is through something called a VPN. I don't know, you may have heard of it before. It stands for Virtual Private Network. And all it is just a program that you can download. And what it does is it creates this sort of tunnel of protection. It's like an encryption tunnel around your connection to an access point. So if, say, you're connected to a Wi-Fi network or you're connected to a website, right? Your device and the website or the Wi-Fi network is here. So like, here's your device, here's a Wi-Fi network, you have this stream that goes in. If it's vulnerable, if that connection is not protected, someone can just access right into this point in the middle and access you. The VPN basically creates a tunnel around that connection so that that access cannot be made into that connection and affect you. So these are things that are called like hotspot shield. I think most cybersecurity firms offer them. I have a list of them that I can send out if you want one. Oftentimes they're free to use in their simplest form. And basically you just like open it up, you turn it on, and it creates that protection. And we want to have those, especially if we're using public Wi-Fi really often, because it just adds that added layer of protection for us. We don't necessarily need to use them then at home and stuff. We can, and it again just adds protection, but definitely on public Wi-Fi networks, that is a key aspect of staying safe on them when we have to use them. And lastly, or maybe not lastly, I don't know, I probably have other points, but buying your passwords on the dark web. So I talked about the dark web already. So this is kind of a secondary point. Maybe your information has already been compromised, so they can get access to your accounts through buying your information on the dark web. Now, your information may be out there because maybe, again, you clicked on something in an email or gave information over unbeknownst to you to a nefarious character, and then they sold that. But this can also happen without your knowledge or without you doing anything, right? Every once in a while, companies that maybe you hold accounts with, they get hacked themselves. So your information can be compromised through data breaches at other companies. That information then is often sold on the dark web to scammers, and those scammers then use that information on you. There's ways that you can check if your accounts have been compromised. Usually you will get an email or some sort of communication from the company itself to say that. They have to be pretty transparent about that. But this is something that can happen, and it highlights the importance of changing our passwords frequently when we can, and not using the same passwords across accounts, because if my Facebook account password was compromised and it's the same password I have for my bank account, and I have it for, I don't know, any other account, my telehealth accounts or whatever, and they have that password and they know my email, they know all of my logins to every single other account I have. So really shows the importance of changing passwords often and vary passwords. So if one account is compromised, it's not the end of the day for every single other account you hold online. So those are the ways that someone might access our device, might get in. But how do we know if this has happened? What are the signs that we've been compromised, that our information has been stolen? So on the level of getting like a virus or something, so if you're concerned that you've been hacked, there's some signs you can look out for. So one thing is you get signed out of your online accounts. So say you have accounts that you your device just stays logged into, right? Like maybe you have an app on your device and you have like Instagram on it or Facebook on it, right? And so you don't, those apps never log you out of that account. You stay permanently logged in. You go to them one day and you've been logged out. So maybe someone's changed your password. You receive notifications about sign-in attempts that you didn't make. So you're getting emails saying someone attempted to sign into your account, or someone signed into your account from a new device. We might get these sometimes. That means someone else is logged in. It's not you. You experience unsuccessful login attempts with the account, so you can't get in. Maybe someone got in and changed your password on you. On the device level, your device becomes slow, overheated, or laggy. So oftentimes, a lot of the viruses or malware that someone might download onto your device can work to just slow them down. And so if they're seeming suddenly slow in a way that you didn't experience before, this could be a sign as well. This could also be a sign of like that you have too many apps open or something as well, but it could also be a sign of something going wrong, that there's some sort of virus or malware that's been downloaded onto your device. You are receiving pop-ups with alarming messages that you can't seem to control or get rid of. They just keep popping up. Browser windows and tabs and apps on your device pop open on their own, so you're not doing anything and stuff starts to happen on your screen. Someone's just controlling your screen. Friends or coworkers tell you that they've received strange messages from you. So another important thing here to note is, again, keeping ourselves safe and keeping others around us safe. If you do ever notice a message from someone else that seems strange, out of character, you should let them know through like a phone call or something, because that might be a sign for them that they've been hacked, and hopefully they'll do the same for you if they notice that. You start to get more spam emails than normal, like you're just getting a lot. This can be due to the fact that like once you've been hacked once, they know you're vulnerable, so they just keep going for you because they see you as someone who can be easily targeted. You'll see suspicious charges in your bank statements. That one's a pretty obvious one. But maybe you get new or unfamiliar apps or extensions on your browser. So new programs are being downloaded on your device you don't remember being there before, that you didn't download. You keep getting redirected to unwanted websites. So you just can't really like get anywhere on the internet. You keep being pushed to certain websites. And then if you have antivirus software, potentially it's been disabled. So they may have gone in and disabled it. I have a few questions here. I can walk through downloading a VPN at the end for people who are wanting that. Also, does that apply if passwords are stored in Google? So I'm sure what that's questions asking, but we should avoid at all costs saving our passwords to things like Google or to our Microsoft account, stuff like that. They do protect them, but it's not the most safe encrypted way to save your passwords. Password managers from antivirus companies are usually a better bet. They're usually much more secure, much more encrypted. So I do tend to suggest avoiding saving passwords to a Google account. I know like it's really tempting and it's really easy, and I've done it before as well. But I have to give the advice that's not always the safest. A third-party password manager is usually a safer option. Something like LastPass or 1Password are some, to name a few, of password managers that really, really keep your passwords safe. So what do you do? Say your computer's hacked. Say you notice these signs now. You are convinced that you have been hacked. What are you going to do about it? So step one is to disconnect your device from Wi-Fi. So if you're using a cellular data plan or you're on Wi-Fi, disconnect it, shut down the connections. These hackers and these viruses, they're not like hardwired, right? They're not plugged in. They're collecting information and sending information back to themselves via the internet. So if there's no way for them to receive that data, then they can't get at it. So to stop the flow of information right away, you first want to disconnect your device from Wi-Fi or any sort of internet connection. Step 2 is if you do have an antivirus software, to scan for malware. So you can perform a scan on your antivirus software to see if there are any malicious softwares downloaded on your device. You want to delete any suspicious applications. So again, if you spot something that you don't recognize, or maybe you noticed the application downloaded, that after that something started happening, delete any suspicious applications. We're looking for a lot of things too that might give hackers access to your device. So a lot of these are remote access apps, things that like allow people to see your screen. Some of the main ones that the hackers tend to use are something called remote desktop, team viewer, AnyDesk, and remote PC. These are sometimes applications that can be used for good purposes. They may help someone help you with your computer in like a real life tech help situation, but they also are often used by hackers to access your screen. Update all of your apps and operating systems. When you can reconnect to Wi-Fi, or if you can update all those apps and operating systems, make sure the security protocols are up to date by doing so. Usually that's in your settings, right? And you should be able to check for updates there and download any ones that you need. And then this is the most annoying part of it all, because it will take a while, is to reset all of your passwords and set up two-factor authentication where possible. Two-factor authentication, as a reminder, is that process of when you sign up for an account, you have a password, but you also provide something like your phone number or something, so that when you log in on a new device or for the first time in a long time, along with giving your password, they'll also send you like a text message with a code, and you have to put that code in. So there's two ways of authenticating that it's you that's logging in. Two-factor authentication can also be that thumbprint scan, or like a face scan on like iPhones and iPads and other devices. That is also a two-factor authentication process that can be used. You can also, you don't always have to do this, but if the problem is persisting and you're really concerned about it, you can always wipe your device and initiate a clean install. So you can go into the settings on your device and you can just delete everything. When you do a reset of your device like this, it will delete all of your data and information. It will also just delete any sort of downloaded software or anything like that that wasn't original to the original device. So it will clean everything out and give it a fresh reset, and it will no longer be accessible at that point of reset by the hackers from before. Number 7, freeze your credit. If you notice this happening, just do what you can to freeze your credit, because even if they haven't gotten there yet, they might. So freeze it until you can ensure that your accounts are secure and safe, and that your information is secure, right? Hackers will want to sell your information or use it themselves to maybe open up new lines of credits in your name. So you want to make sure that you put a freeze on that if you are certain that your information has been compromised. Check your credit report and financial statements. So just check if anything is happening. Again, you can go to annualcreditreport.com or Equifax or any of those to check these things, but do a check on your credit just to make sure nothing has been opened up or done that you're not aware of. And warn your friends and family about the hack, right? As I said before, when you get attacked, whether it's someone hacking your device or you fell for a phishing scam or any of those things, when that happens, it leaves everyone in your immediate orbit more vulnerable as well, because they may then use your information, your accounts, to then get to the next person. So you may just be at the front of a long line, you may be right in the middle and you didn't know it, of a long line of people moving through your friend and family circle. So it can be really, I think, embarrassing for a lot of people, but it happens to a lot of people. It happens often, so there's nothing to be embarrassed about. But the best thing you can do is tell people that it's happened so they know on their end to watch out for similar signs or similar attacks and they don't fall victim as well. And then once everything is cleared up, you maybe reset your device, you've done everything you need to do. Next time around, tighten up those security settings. Make sure that you have really strong passwords. Make sure you're setting up that two-factor authentication on online profiles like on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you keep those profiles really private so that information isn't readily accessible to random people on the internet. And also, going forward after that point, if you haven't been attacked, just to prevent these things, you always want to practice good cyber hygiene. Good cyber hygiene habits are your best defense against attackers. The goal of cyber hygiene is to just minimize those risks and make you less of a target for scammers. So sadly, hackers and scammers, they have millions of potential vulnerable targets. But if they see that you've employed even like the basic cybersecurity framework, they're more likely to move on to someone else, right? So they just want to attack the most vulnerable people, the people who have no protections in place. Just even by listening to this presentation, you're in better shape than a majority of people when it comes to online cybersecurity. So cyber hygiene isn't also something that you can practice occasionally. It includes routines and habits that you must perform on the regular, like nutrition or exercise, personal hygiene regimens. They can help you maintain your physical well-being. Daily digital wellness routine can help your online health. So practice good online safety. You can get a safety program, an antivirus. You don't need to have one, if I'm being honest, especially like on things like Apple products, they're pretty good, but you can get an antivirus. Install legitimate and highly rated antivirus and anti-malware software if you want it. You can also always ask us what we suggest, but like Norton and I'm trying to think of the others. There's Aura as well. Those are all good ones. There's plenty out there, but you may consider it. Again, on an Apple device, I don't find that it's as necessary, but you can have them. Learn to recognize those signs of a phishing attack, right? So you may have heard these before, but when you're looking at a phishing attack, some of the key signs of those emails or texts that we can look out for. One is poor grammar and spelling. Right? Like I said, these are happening constantly. Millions upon millions of phishing emails are sent out every day. They don't really have all that much time to make them, grammatically correct, and they don't need to because it's volume for them, and they know that enough people are going to fall for them. Check for urgency in the language. Anytime something is contacting you, telling you have to act now, right away, that is a telltale sign and a red flag that they are just trying to catch you vulnerable, not thinking, and scared. So if they're saying, there's been an attempt to log into your account, you need to take action immediately to prevent any further incidents, that is a red flag. So that sense of urgency, pushing you towards clicking on links, saying, you need to click on this link right now, or you need to open this attachment right now. Also, you didn't initiate the conversation. It's a message coming out of seemingly nowhere that you have no prior knowledge to or understanding of. If the message doesn't make sense to you, then just take a second to think about it. Don't take action until you fully understand where this message is coming from and what the intention is. You can also check for things like the name of the sender doesn't sound familiar. Maybe there's a misspelling in the names. Maybe it says it's coming from Facebook, but really it says facebook.com, right? Small misspellings in even the name or the web address that it's coming from, and stuff like that. Also, if it's coming from a friend or family member, maybe it doesn't really sound like them or how they normally sound, right? Might be a case that someone's been hacked and is doing that through someone else's name. Even besides, doing this when you think you've been hacked or you think you've been made vulnerable, checking your credit reports and financial accounts regularly This is just a good thing to do because sometimes you won't see the signs and you won't know until you get that monthly report. So checking those things regularly. Online banking can be a great way to make sure that you can do this regularly and keep up to date, especially in the days of the internet and online shopping. This is more and more prevalent. We want to make sure that we catch it early on. Monitor and install all updates on your devices often. I will say this a million times over, always download your software updates as quickly as you can, because there are really important security protocols in those updates that will keep you safer. Use strong passwords or passphrases and store them securely. Make sure that you're not saving them to your browser. Use a password manager, or you can keep them in some cases written down in a really safe place, but make sure that that place is not accessible by anyone who may use those passwords and accounts in a bad way or against you. All right, okay. And then lastly is just to keep yourself up to date. Keep yourself in the loop. The best thing you can do to protect yourself or to spot or be knowledgeable about the tactics of hackers and scammers online is just to know what's coming up, right? When we're talking about online scams, they're often also very seasonal. So we're going to see as we move into like November, a lot of scams coming up around Thanksgiving, around Christmas. Maybe it's a deal and you're looking to buy presents for the family and you're getting a lot of, really good deal emails. This is often also really common for a scam I mentioned earlier, which is the undeliverable like package scam, where you get a text message or an email saying that, we've attempted to deliver a package to you, but it was unsuccessful. We need more information to complete the delivery. And then you click and you give them all your information, or maybe you pay a fee, because around the holiday seasons we may be getting packages as gifts and we're not sure where they're coming from. Maybe someone said they sent us a gift, and so there's that. So whenever you receive something like that, you might get them in November and December. Just check in with anyone is sending you a package to make sure that it matches the package that they're sending you, right? So that you don't fall for that. Also, around the holidays, romance scams are really prevalent as well, right? Those happen often on social media, sometimes on email, so we always have to be aware of scams that are coming up around certain occasions, tax scams, right? But keeping up to date, you can do that through asking us at Cyber Seniors, what's the latest. We do monthly other cybersecurity webinars to keep you up to date on what's happening, what's the newest, because these things, they're changing all the time. They change with the landscape and the political landscape and everything that's happening, right? We saw so many new scams and stuff crop up around COVID-19. We see scams crop up every time there's an election. So we need to know, be aware that, or if there's a natural disaster, right? If there's a hurricane in Florida, you're going to get inundated with charity scams, people posing as charities. So knowing what's going on in the world at large and making those connections, and just doing your research, doing a Google search if you can, of like, what are the newest scams, or what are the current scams. Keeping yourself in the loop will give you a big step up on, oh, I've heard of that one. Great. Now I know if someone does that with me, I know. And also just, unfortunately, always be suspicious online, right? There's a lot out there, so you have to keep your guard up, and they count on you not doing that. All right. Okay, so someone asked about walking through downloading a VPN. So depends on where you're downloading it on. I'll show you on my iPhone right now. If I can share it, let me see. So downloading a VPN is a pretty simple-ish process. There's a few that we use. I namely use Hotspot Shield. For me, I think that one, can everyone, can everyone, give me a second. Can everyone see my phone screen? I can't see if it's visible. If someone could unmute and just say yes, because my whole screen has disappeared now except for my phone screen.
It says that you started sharing screen, but there's nothing actually
There's nothing
on
there.
there.
Oh, weird. Okay. Let me do it through a different method. I'll plug in. Let's try it this way. Okay. Yeah, can you see it now?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So and we're downloading it. We usually want to download our applications through our device's dedicated app store. On any Apple device, that's going to be the App Store. On like a Windows computer, there's the Windows Store. And on Android devices, it's like Samsung, LG, smartphones, and tablets, it's going to be the Google Play Store, in case you have any sort of different kind of device. So we always want to make sure we're downloading through those channels because they're the safest way to download applications and stuff. We know that they've been scanned for viruses, so that's not a risk on many of these apps. But I'm going to start. I'll go to the App Store. I like to use, like I said, one called Hotspot Shield. It's a free one. You don't need to have any sort of existing antivirus software to use it. So Hotspot Shield, Hotspot Shield. All of these should be able to be downloaded on a phone, tablet, or a computer. So I already have downloaded it before, so I just do it, but usually we'll just say get. I'm just going to download this one. Might take me a second to get it going. Download it. There, perfect. And then I can open it. It's now going to be on my home screen. This is what it looks like. It's this app. And it will, like any sort of thing, like try to get you to like purchase sometimes the premium version right up here. You don't have to though. You can use it a basic free version. And this is great. So this is the app. I opened it. And literally the only thing I have to do is there's a power button. I press it. I will watch the ad, annoyingly. It's just going to give me a 20-second ad, right? Everything has a cost, whether it's an actual price or it's a advertisement. So I have to watch this. 17 more seconds. We're close. If you have an existing antivirus software that you use, though, it probably comes with your account probably comes with a hotspot, a VPN, so you can also look into that. And then if you're using it for the first time, you may need to like set up these verifications. Sorry, I've been using it a while. But once it's set up, it's on. So now my connection is secured and I can use this on my device. There are other ones as well. Again, like I said, as an option for you. And now I can go and my connection to public Wi-Fi network is protected and secure. So someone has web root. Yeah, so there's plenty of them, ask around too. Other people may have ones that they like. That's just the one I've always had, so I know it. There may be better ones out there too, though, that don't have to, you don't have to watch an ad on. That's just the one that I've always used. So I have that one. Other questions? Yes, basically, as I said, and don't ask me like the actual ins and outs of the technology because I don't know. But basically, what it does is it encrypts your connection to a source. So your device is one end of a connection, and the actual like internet you're connected to, so the Wi-Fi network, or even potentially a website, is the other end, right? So you're attached to that. You're like tethered to that, to this connection. When we are on like a cellular data plan, we tend to be more protected, but when we're on a public Wi-Fi network that anyone can access, right? Like the library Wi-Fi, because there's maybe no password on that or anything like that, that means there can be plenty of people on that same network, and attached devices to that network may be able to like basically be reached through other devices on that network. So it becomes unsafe. So when we use that VPN, we pretty much create like a concrete tunnel around our connection. No one else that's on that network can like come back to us. Like we're connected safely.
Hey, Delilah, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, we have 3 hands up.
Were you ready for questions?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we have a few hands up right now. I'm gonna let Ann Dennis go first, but Ann, make sure you unmute yourself when you ask your question.
Oh, Delilah, you have to tap on ask to unmute.
Sorry.
Hi, thank you for unmuting me.
No problem.
Well, you answered quite a few of my questions. I wanted to ask you, how safe are these sites that clean your phone? Because I've been getting these messages and I've been deleting them because I don't trust all that. So, how do you know that this is a legitimate site and not a scam?
So people, you're getting emails asking you to download some sort of program that will like protect your device.
To clean.
Yeah, I would probably assume those are scams, right? If you didn't ask for that information, like it's probably not legitimate.
Okay, because it keeps flashing on your phone. Your phone has all this scam on it, and your phone is in danger of being your
Yes,
information.
that is a classic. That's a classic. So you just close it
Yeah.
out. Close it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you about this scam, how we can protect ourselves from. I don't know if anybody else is getting it, but I've gotten several of them. Claiming to be some millionaire in some places, won this lottery, and they're giving out millions of dollars. And I go, yeah, how the heck you get my number? And I'm way over here in DC. And but anyhow, how can you stop that? I blocked them, and another one comes up, and
yeah, unfortunately, the solution is just to keep trying to block them, right? You can get on like anti-spam like lists, I think too, but they just keep coming, right? They come from different sources. Everyone gets them, and it's like a full-time job just to like delete them and manage them. If it's an email form, you can mark them as spam, and hopefully your email will learn like to start filtering those through to your spam as much as possible. In text message, they're a bit harder to avoid. The main thing you can do is delete the messages, block the sender. And I think you can also set up like a spam filter on text messages as well, depending on the device. But yeah, it's just you don't engage in them. You just delete them. That's how you stay safe against them. Don't engage, delete. In order stopping them coming in, it's a bit more tricky because, as I said, like we're all being inundated with them all the time, and they seem to never stop or have like any sort of limit to the amount of phone numbers they can acquire to send you things from. Yeah.
can you report this to the police, or is it
You can report it to the anti-fraud center, I think it's called.
Okay.
So they get a lot of them. Or no, what is it called? And sorry, that's the Canadian one. In the US, it's the I think you report those things actually maybe to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission is where you want to report any sort of scams or stuff like that. But if report fraud.ftc.gov, I believe. But you can also report it to the Internet Crime Complaint Center as well. There's not much they will do about it, to be honest. They're like mostly dealing with people who've lost money. So if you haven't been affected by it yet, but yeah, it's the reality of the internet these days that we're always.
It's the reality of the world, period.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're very interesting, and I hope that they invite you back again because there's changings every day, And there's people that are just trying to, they think everybody who's over 65 is stupid.
But that's not true
Hey,
at all.
but thank you
Gotta
again.
just,
Thanks,
Oh.
thanks, Ann. So we have Brenda McManus. You have another question?
Ms. McManus.
I'm sorry, McManus.
McManus, thank you. Hi, Miss Macaulee. Well, yeah, Miss Macaulee. Miss Macaulee, I just want to say thanks to this iPad program, we have been drilled on what to look out, the scams, you know, sharing our private information. And this is good because, I mean, we just need to be reminded of it to still stay vigilant and to watch out for people that are trying to scam us. Now, what I did recently, signed up for more storage with Apple, and I just checked my desktop, and it says I got an email saying that my storage limit was met, and that I should insert my credit card for more details and your Apple ID and sign. So
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of stay on top of that because, you know, Teresa and Alex and, you know, we've had Annie, and they've told us a lot of information to look out for, and they're constantly trying to get us. So we just have to be vigilant and stay on top of it. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you ever are unsure, always just ask, right? Like there's no harm in taking a second. Nothing over the intro, the email can really be that urgent. Another thing to note that you know, because we're seeing more of it, especially with like AI, and these are getting better with like things like the grandparent scam, which is obviously more of a phone scam.
Oh, yeah.
But the
Yeah.
phone scam is people being able to replicate voices pretty well and dupe phone numbers of
Right.
family members. So another tip there, as I really do strongly suggest to really anyone that you create a family password or a password among trusted individuals, whether it's a sentence, so that if you ever get a call that's like that and you feel suspicious, you can say, what's the family password? And you can trust that you're talking to that real individual.
Exactly.
Because those things are being more and more duped, and it's phone, so maybe not seem like internet stuff, but it is based on information that someone might have been able to collect on, you know,
Yes.
your
Yes.
grandchild off the internet that they're then using to scam you. So
Yeah.
like that's another thing that we're seeing a lot. So a family
Yeah.
pack, a good old fashioned
Yeah, that's a good
phrase.
and that happened to me too. You know, a grandparent scam. A gentleman called, said, this is your grandson. And my grandson is, at the time, he was like 7 years old, and he was here. And I said, really? So, I mean, I know what to look at. And plus, we just had a scam session last month. It was like a bingo scam, and the lady was telling us all of the different scams. They have so many out here. So
They're so creative, aren't they? Yeah.
very. They try to get you any way they can. But
Yeah.
this is good just to keep us informed, just to make sure we're aware of what's going on. So I thank you for doing that.
No problem. There. Other questions? I think
Yes, sorry. The next up is Adele. Gotta hit you in the middle, Adele. There you go.
This is Adele.
Hi.
Thank you for coming. Very informative. I have a couple of questions. One of them is, what is the difference between scammers and hackers?
So it's kind of I mean, so a hacker, like when someone hacks you or like it's more of like the action of it. So it can kind of be seen in two parts. So the hack and the hacking is someone getting into or getting access to your information devices, right? So it's a downloading of a virus or a malware to steal information from you, or it's sending out that, like getting into your account, finding your password and getting in. That's hacking. It's like that access point. The scamming is the actual thing, getting your money or getting your information. So they can kind of be used in some ways interchangeably. But scams can happen outside of like the internet sphere, whereas hacking is particular to like the internet. So when I talk about hackers, it more has to do with people getting access to your accounts or devices, so getting inside of them, and being able to operate within them. But scamming can happen without ever accessing your accounts. They can just get that information out of you by like sending you an email and you giving them that information, if that makes sense. So sometimes we use them a bit interchangeably because they can both be part of like a process of cybercrime, like in one thing, but sometimes they're a bit different. So scamming more to do with like that personal side of it, the social engineering thing, and then the hacking is more the technical side of it, if that differentiates them.
Thank you. The other question, when I go on my computer and I go to in private browsing, does that really protect you from anything?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't protect you from anything. All that in private browsing does is it ensures that anything you're doing in that session is not saved. So when you go onto your internet browser and you Google search something, or you go to a website, it saves that in your browser history, right? So then the next time I go to Google and I start typing something in, if I've typed it in before, it might suggest that I type that again, right? Or if I'm on Facebook a lot and I go and I type in F and immediately it auto populates with like Facebook, and like I can click on it and I don't have to type in the full title. So when you use, so that's like based on your browser history, knowing where you've been and saving those locations. When you're in private browsing, it just means that none of that gets saved. So I tend to think like you use in private browsing if you need to like Google something really embarrassing, like if I had like a really embarrassing rash and I was like and I don't want it to save because I don't want someone to see that I Googled that, right? That's maybe why, but it doesn't mean that that like the point of access that you're accessing, like that's protected. It just means that it doesn't save any of that information to your device.
I see. Thank you. Then the last thing I want to ask you, if you want to do bill pay, what would your advice be? Which selection should you use to do your bill pay?
Can you give me a bit more context? Bill pay for
your utility, say for your utility bills.
And you're asking like what like form of payment you should use, or
Excuse me?
You're asking like whether you like, and you mean like should you do like a direct deposit or anything, like is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or with a banking institution, credit union, or snail mail. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so if it's a trusted source, like say it's like a utility payment or anything like that, as long as your connection's secure when you're making that initial payment, you can do something like a direct deposit or transfer, right? Those, if you know you're paying for someone that you like to some sort of, the utility company that you know is a utility company, you're paying it, you can do that. However, if you're making other like purchases or paying other things online, I would, if possible, always recommend using a credit card. So for like bill payments, like maybe like I pay my property taxes online, for example, I use a direct deposit because I know it's the city, I can trust it. But if I'm shopping online, if I'm buying something on Amazon, you want to use a credit card because it gives you more protections against fraud, and you're more likely to be able to retrieve those funds than you are with like a debit card, for example. So for bill payments to trusted sources, you can use a direct deposit or debit. That's fine. But when you're making other purchases online or paying for services that you're maybe not as familiar with online, where you can, if possible, use a credit card because you just have more protections on a credit card.
I see. Now, which credit card is better to use, a debit or a credit?
A credit, yeah. Because like generally credit cards, like, right, that money is not when you use your debit card, that's coming directly out of your account. So when it's gone, sometimes it's just gone. With a credit card, it's not coming directly out of your account. So oftentimes they can stop that transfer quicker, right? Like it doesn't get billed until a bit later. So there's more time for that to be stopped or retracted. With a debit payment, it's a bit more instantaneous. And so once it's gone, sometimes it's gone.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hi, Ms. Macaulee. Again, thank you, Adele. Just time check. I know it's about 2:45. Just not sure of your schedule, your ETA.
I don't think I have anything else right now.
Okay.
So I think I can still answer any
Yeah, we
remaining
have
questions.
about 3 hands up. So just Miss Louise, Sharon, and Carmen, if you could try to keep them as short as possible, we'd appreciate it so we could answer all of your questions. Okay. Because we are about at that 2:45 mark. Okay. So Louise, go ahead and unmute.
I really thank you for this because in August they tried to hack into my accounts and they were telling me, don't call your bank because the hackers will hear what you're saying to the bank. And I had 2 phones, and so I called the bank on the other line anyway. And it was a good thing I didn't say yes, because they were pushing me so hard about my accounts and everything that was bad on my computer. And I didn't realize that the pop-ups, I was getting so many pop-ups, I couldn't use my laptop. And even now, I haven't used it since. I was so afraid of dealing with it. And so this information, even though you hear it, sometimes when you get the call, you're not thinking and you get a little panic. And then you realize, no, you cannot say yes to anything. You just call your bank and not dealing with them. So I thank you so much for reminding us.
Yeah. And that's a really good point, right? Like they don't want you to hang up, because if you call them back, like again, like that spoofing of phone numbers is real. Like they can make it look like it's another phone number. So you just say, I'm just going to call right back.
Right.
And then no, it's because that's not where they're actually calling from, right? So as soon as you make that attempt, you can also always check by saying stuff like, oh, like I'm actually just going to hang up and call, and they'll panic, they'll freak out, and they'll make it more intense. That's like immediately like, okay, you just gave yourself up by losing your cool, which they will do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Next up is Miss Carmen, and then Miss Teresa, and then we'll be good for the day. Go ahead, Carmen, and hit unmute in the middle. There you go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. This was very informative. And are you going to at any time do a replay of this session? I think that would be helpful.
Are they able to get access to it again after? I'm sure we can also do more. Yeah.
We record them and they're posted on our YouTube channel, but Cyber Seniors has been on for a while, and this is a very important topic, Ms. Carmen. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had something like this coming in the future. But we have, I think we have had Cyber Senior do this before at some point, and it should be on our YouTube channel as well, Ms. Carmen. Okay.
But it would be helpful to us.
And also on our regular sessions, if I could mention it, through our Cyber Senior sessions, apart from these ones, we do a monthly cybersecurity webinar that you are welcome to join. I don't know if that information can be sent out to, but we do a monthly session on different topics.
It should be on the Cyber Senior website, right?
Yes, it's on Cyber Senior's website, and we do them, like I said, once a month, different topics that we cover. And again, we also have a lot of videos as well in our cybersecurity area. I have to edit the one I did yesterday, but we also just did one on online shopping and scams surrounding that. So I can put the link to that area of our site in the chat. It's cyberseniors.org is our website, but
point.
it's cyberseniors/aura-cybersecurity. And yeah, we do something different. So we just did online shopping last month. We did online banking. So looking at different areas of things we're doing online and how to stick safely.
Okay, thank you.
And there's videos there as well. Like you'll see there's a click and you can click on the videos.
All right, thank you much.
No problem.
Have a good day, Miss Carmen.
You do the same now, and everybody else as well.
Yep, next up is Teresa. Hi, Teresa, how are you?
Hi, I did try and download that app and I clicked on where it said free and I went through the process. I followed the prompts and then it asked me if I would allow them to send me whatever. And I said no. And then the next prompt said, you can do a 30-day trial or 90-day free trial. So did it tell me about a 90-day free trial because I said, don't send me whatever they wanted to send me?
They'll just do it. Unfortunately, that's the issue with any sort of app you're going to download. There's always going to be a free version and a paid version, and every once in a while they'll like try to push you to the paid version. There should be like an X somewhere on the screen that you can say no thanks. Just say no thanks, because it might happen every once in a while.
Okay, I'll keep pushing through to see if I can get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Thanks
It's like when you're playing, if you've ever played like those, like any of those, like a card game on your device, and you always just get like, it's just, there's free, most apps are free and have like a paid subscription model, and they'll always remind you that they have that paid version that you can get, right? But it should be free. You just have to like move that thing away. But there's also other ones if that one's like too annoying sometimes. Let me see other options for VPNs. You don't have to use that one. There's also, I think ExpressVPN. Maybe I can put them in the chat. NordVPN is another one. I'm going to there's actually a list here I'll put in from PC.com, the best free VPN in 2023. So a lot of other options there. Yeah, there's a ton, like, if you just search VPN too, you'll find ones. Just make sure you're reading the reviews tunnel there. I'm just looking at them now. So other options too, if it just becomes too annoying. But
okay, then
again,
I'm trying
very common.
VPN. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Have a great evening.
Teresa, I hope that helped out.
It did.
Yes. So just also, Ms. Macaulee, just since we're talking about security and protection, all that, like you said, the iPad operating system is very, 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 very vital in this, also the security of the iPads, and we talk about that all the time, but especially now since iPadOS 17 just came out 3 weeks ago, and even since that there have been many updates. So like there's 17.0.3 that just came out that has security updates and bug fixes too. So even if you don't take advantage of like VPNs or those apps, at least keeping that iPad operating system is really important to keep your devices safe and secure.
Yeah, and as like I'll say too, like Apple products tend to be like there's you know, they tend to be the safest because they're an insulated network, right? They control both the hardware and the software. So that's like the actual physical device and like the programming of the devices. So they have really great security protocols. And other devices do too as well, but they're the most protected in terms of they're the least easy to hack because of that closed network that they control every aspect of it. When you think of an Android device or a Windows computer, you have a Windows operating system. That's the stuff you're seeing on the screen, but you have an HP computer, you have a Samsung phone with an Android operating system. It's two different bodies kind of controlling those two, the hardware and software. And so sometimes that's like where when we have those devices, those ones might be the ones that we more thoroughly consider something like an antivirus because there might be more gaps in their systems. Not that they're not safe, they're very safe, but just something to consider.
Alrighty then. Well, there are no more hands. I hope everyone enjoyed Ms. Macaulee's presentation. I know I did. I never knew that hackers had certain like green hats or red hats. That was pretty cool. So that's something I learned new today. And we'll be seeing you or Annie or both of you next month. First Thursday of the month. We have Cyber Senior on, and as always, they've been very informative. So any closing remarks before we end for today, Ms. Macaulee?
No, I don't think so. But if you have any additional questions, always feel free to reach out to us at Cyber Seniors. We're happy to answer them. And hopefully, if you are looking for more cybersecurity resources, that cyberseniors.org/aura-cybersecurity. I think you can get there from our homepage as well. You'll find more resources there if you're interested in learning more. Yes, on our website. I'll actually just show this quickly if possible. When you go to our
Oh, sure. While you bring that up, our seniors also have an icon on their iPads that come preloaded where it takes them to the Cyber Seniors YouTube channel.
Yes, so perfect. Yeah, so you can go there and look at it. We have a playlist for it, but when you're on our main site, cyberseniors.org, you'll see at the very top here, it says cybersecurity. You can click on that and you can see we have upcoming ones. We just did one, but you can also access any previous videos as well as a blog that covers all the topics we cover in our webinar. So you can either watch a video on a cybersecurity topic or read a blog post about it that takes you through basically all of the same points, so you can learn. For example, let's see this. We have recently done online banking, charity scams, how hackers are using AI, how to make a strong password, all of these things, relationship scams, a 101 kind of just basic cybersecurity session. And we're continuing to do those each month and build on that resource.
Awesome. Great information. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Holly, and let's all thank her for hosting today.